I've been working my way through all the solitaire scenarios for Space Empires 4X. Today I'm going to be playing Space Amoeba, which is solitaire scenario number 5, which can be found in the Close Encounters expansion. Now, I don't actually own a copy of the base game yet. I've pre-ordered a copy of the 4th printing via the GMT P500 program, and I believe it's at the printer right now, so I should get it in the next couple months. So until then, I've just been building my own custom counters and my own custom game board. So I am going to be playing this official solitaire scenario using the official rules, but I'm going to be playing it on my own homebrew board with my own homebrew counters. Now, the setup for this game is slightly different than the setup for either of the solitaire scenarios that I've played so far. We'll be playing with a 30 CP homeworld, so I just stacked my 20 CP homeworld on top of my 10, 3 colony ships, 3 scouts, a miner, and 4 shipyards. And then for the deep space counters, all we're supposed to do for that is pull out 10 of these 10 CP mineral counters and 4 barren planets, and we're supposed to mix them up and then place the 14 deep space counters in these 14 sectors. And I couldn't resist. I decided to make my Space Amoebas large hex-sized counters because instead of units that move through space, the Space Amoebas are actually these giant organisms that sort of consume space and everything in it as they expand. So these Space Amoebas won't be moving from hex to hex. They'll actually be growing outward from their starting point. So I just thought it'd be really cool if like the Space Amoebas were these huge, like sector-sized organisms. Just a little thematic flourish, if you will. The barren planets do not have aliens on them, so I don't think it makes any sense to use the alien technology cards. Player pays no maintenance during the game, so that's kind of an interesting feature of this scenario. So in this scenario, minesweepers represent science vessels, and you have to use science vessels to defeat the amoebas. And we can't begin to research science technology until at least one ship has been lost to an amoeba. So I basically have to send out. Now, each turn that a science vessel is in the same hex within an amoeba, I'm going to roll a die, and that represents the ship's research effort. And I've actually got a research table here on the map. And so on a 1 or a 2, we gain 2 research points. On a 3 through 5, we gain 1 research point. 6 through 8, no research is gained. And 9 through 10, the science vessel is destroyed by the amoeba. And so we have to gain 10 research points on an amoeba to fully research it and understand its weaknesses and how to destroy it. Now at science level 1, we get 1 roll when researching, but on science level 2, we get 2 rolls when researching. And researching is sort of a free action that can occur directly after a move. So you can move into a hex with an amoeba and research it. And then multiple science vessels can research each turn there in a hex with an amoeba. Before the amoeba is researched, it can't be attacked, and the amoeba kills all ships in the same hex, except for the science vessels. Amoebas have a tactics rating of 2, and they're immune to cloaking and fighters, unless otherwise specified. And ships never get a fleet size bonus against amoebas. All right, so I think I'm just going to dive right in. There are some special rules regarding mines and how mines can slow the spread of the amoebas, but I think I'm just going to cover those as I play. We've got 6 economic phases before the amoebas start spreading. So the first thing I need to do is get research vessels out to the amoebas and research them. So as usual, we start the game by sending out scouts. There's only 1 black hole, so lately I've just been kind of sending out my colony ships with my scouts. It just saves a little bit of time and helps me get a little bit ahead of the curve. There's a slight chance that they could both be destroyed by a black hole, but the odds of survival are not horrible, so I'm willing to take the risk. So on my first turn, I discover some minerals and a habitable system. And since my colony ship went with my scout, he's basically already there and ready to go. Let's see, I can go ahead and go to turn 2. The scouts continue to advance outward with the colony ships, and the miner will go out to the minerals. Vulcan was discovered on turn 2, so that colony ship is already where it needs to be. The scout moves outward, and the scout moves outward. Orion was discovered, so this colony ship can come down here, and then this scout will move outward. So at the end of turn 3, we've already got 3 colony ships in place, and they will build colonies on this economic phase, which starts now. So we've got 30 plus 5 CPs in minerals. No pipelines. 35, and we're not doing maintenance. Actually, just so I remember, there's no maintenance in this scenario. No turn order bid. That's for multiplayer scenarios. And so our subtotal is 35. So since Minesweeper technology, which is actually science technology in this scenario, is so important, I'm definitely going to invest in that. And then I think I'll spend 24 on 3 colony ships, because I know that I'm going to need those. I've got 4 shipyards, so I can build 3 colony ships, no problem. And then the last thing we do is grow our colonies. So Vulcan has been colonized, Eden has been colonized, and Orion has been colonized. So on the next economic phase, we will be generating CPs from those colonies. And that's it. So now we go to turn 2, and we'll flip this over. We discover Bethel, more minerals, and one of our scouts stumbles onto a black hole. And he rolls a 1 and survives. And then we go on to our economic phase. So we collect 30 CPs for our home world. 31, 32, 33. That gives us 39. No maintenance cost. It's so weird not doing the maintenance cost, but I'm into it. So now we've got 39, and we can upgrade our Minesweeper technology to 2. That's going to greatly increase our efficiency when we're researching the amoebas. And we still can't do mines yet, but that's okay. Well, let's do 2 colony ships for 16. And then I think we'll go ahead and buy a Minesweeper, well, a science vessel, because those are only 6. 2 CPs left over. And then we grow our colonies. So then we go to the top, and now we're on turn 3. And I already caught one mistake. I cannot research science technology until one of my ships has been lost to an amoeba. So I went back and removed those technological upgrades and redid the math. So I actually have 27 CPs carrying over, because I didn't buy the 10 and the 15 CP technology advancements. So I have to basically sacrifice a scout. Probably this scout I will sacrifice to that amoeba. And at that point, it unlocks my ability to upgrade my technologies. So I'm a little behind the curve because of that mistake, but I think I can make up for lost time here. Okay, so on turn 3 of the 3rd economic phase, this scout ship has been lost to that amoeba, which means that I can now research my science technologies as we enter the 3rd economic phase. So I've got 30 homeworld CPs, 39, 40, 41, 5 mineral CPs. So because of that earlier mistake I made of purchasing my science technology too quickly and then undoing that, I now have a huge number of CPs that I can spend. Definitely going to buy mines and Minesweeper. 33 left to spend. We're definitely going to need ship size. I think I'm going to throw it into move. I feel like being able to respond quickly is going to be kind of maybe important with this game. We did a lot of investment in our technologies on that turn. Now I think I understand why this scenario is set up this way with all the 10 mineral CPs. It sort of creates this tension of wanting to mine all these rich minerals out here, but they're very close to these amoebas that are going to be spreading and eating them up. So as these amoebas start spreading a couple turns from now, they're going to start eating up all these precious resources. And another thing I did was I only have one miner, and he's way over here messing around with these little 5 CP minerals while these scouts are way over here discovering all these 10 CP minerals. So, in future plays of this scenario, I want to keep my miner. First of all, I want to invest in more miners, but I also want to keep them close to my scouts because now I'm in a situation where I don't have any miners over here. The amoebas are going to start spreading in a couple turns. I need to build more miners and get them out to here. And it's really a race against time. I got 61 CPs to spend. I'm definitely going to do my research. And I think I'm going to pump more into my move. I think we should probably do ship size. That leaves us 6 remaining. Carry it over. And then we grow our colonies. Actually, I think I'm going to build a miner. That's 5, so we only have 1 CP to carry over because we really need to try to get out to those mining deposits. And I think we're ready to move on to economic phase 5. Now on our next economic phase, the amoebas are going to start growing, and we haven't even researched them yet. So I think I'm like grossly behind the curve here, unfortunately. Okay, so in the 5th round of turns for the 5th economic phase, we have mined 15 CPs worth of minerals. I'm going to build 3 research vessels, 1 left over, and to grow my colonies. And then we move on to economic phase 6, turn 1. I'm going to move my science vessels out to the amoebas and start researching them. Woefully late, but better late than never, I guess. All right, so on the 3rd turn of the 6th economic phase, these 2 science vessels reach the amoebas that they want to research. This one hit some unexplored deep space, so he had to actually stop there to explore it. And since he does have an attack value, he is allowed to explore deep space on his own. So now we have to do a research roll for each of the 2 vessels that reached the amoebas that they want to research. So for the first one, we roll 1. We gain 2 research points. So this amoeba has 2 research points. And then for the other one, we roll a 3, and here we gain 1 research point. So these research vessels have made okay progress, but we have to get up to 10 research points. And these vessels are likely going to be destroyed before I reach 10, and I'll have to build more research vessels and send them out. And the amoebas are going to start growing now. So I think things are about to get really ugly. So we go to our economic phase. So I just realized that these research vessels are actually of Research Tech 2. So they should get 2 research rolls, and then you take the best result. But then I realized that you're not allowed to upgrade to Research 2 until Research 1 has been used on an amoeba. Level 2 science vessels get to roll twice, but level 2 science can't be researched until level 1 has studied an amoeba. So I'm just going to say that these are level 1 science vessels, and that on this economic phase, I upgraded to level 2. So any science vessels I build from here on out will be level 2. but these are still just level 1. So that's the way I'm going to do that. So this was not game breaking, and it sort of works out the same, so it's no big deal. There are a lot of little exceptions to the normal rules with this scenario, and I get it because all these little exceptions help create the narrative that, like, oh, we stumbled onto an amoeba and it killed us. Oh, let's send out the science vessels. Oh, we've learned something about the amoebas. Now we can upgrade our science and become smarter. All the little tweaks that they made to the rules for this scenario really help support the narrative. It is economic phase 6, so now each one of these amoebas is going to start spreading. So I'm actually allowed to choose which hex I want this amoeba to spread into. Obviously, I'm going to try to avoid having it spread into minerals for now, but I'm not going to be able to do that forever. Eventually, it's going to start eating up minerals. The second amoeba is basically going to eat Aries. Now, as the amoebas spread into system markers, the system markers are removed, so the amoebas are basically consuming whatever they pass through. Amoeba number 3 is going to spread this way. But it's kind of fun not knowing anything about this scenario and playing it for the first time. There's really something about the discovery of seeing how this scenario plays that's really fun, and I'm only going to get this experience once. Like, once I know all the little ins and outs and all the little tricks for this scenario, that magic of the first playthrough is kind of gone forever. So even though it looks like I'm going to get destroyed here, I'm kind of embracing it because it really is fun and exciting, and I have no idea what's around the next corner other than my imminent demise. So now that the amoebas are spreading, we don't really need to keep track of our economic phases anymore. So we'll just switch to like a regular turn marker, and I think we just need to count up our CPs. So we've got 81, and we need science vessels, but all of our science vessels are out. Mines keep amoebas from spreading, so I think what I'm going to try to do now is invest in mines. Although, does that only work after they've been researched? The rules don't specify that the amoebas have to be fully researched in order for mines to work in hindering their spread. So I don't know which way to go with that. I feel like thematically you should have to fully research the amoebas before you can deploy mines to stop the spread. But yeah, I don't know. I think I'm going to go ahead and invest in attack and defense. So we've got 41 left. I think I'm going to keep pumping money into move. We've got 15 left. I'm going to go tactics. I don't know what I'm doing here. This scenario is so different than Doomsday Machine, and it's so different than Alien Empire. I love it, but I'm just not sure exactly what to do with it. So we're going to the next economic phase, and I guess we do some mining, and then we do our research rolls. So that miner goes there, that miner goes there, and then we do a research roll. So we rolled a 4, gain 1 research point. So this 2 becomes a 3. And we roll a 9, research vessel destroyed. So this research vessel is destroyed by that amoeba, but we still keep the research that we've gained from it. And then this research vessel reaches this amoeba finally, and we roll a 1. So 2 research points have been gained over here. Minerals are mining. Do our research roll. 5, gain 1 research point. So this 3 becomes a 4. Researching is a very slow process. Roll a 4, 1 research point. So this 2 becomes a 3. Turn 3, more mining. 7, no research gained. Now each one of these amoebas is going to grow. So this one's going to grow this way. And this one is going to grow this way. Both of these need to grow if possible. So this one will grow here and consume the Arachis system. And then this one is going to grow here and consume a Polaris. Both of these need to grow if possible. So this one is going to consume these minerals. And this one is going to consume this deep space. I definitely am going to buy 4 science vessels, upgrade move for 20. I'm going to upgrade attack. So that's 7 left over. So now we have a move 6, which is we can move 2, 3, 3. These minesweepers need to get up here, or sorry, research vessels need to get up here as soon as possible. So on turn 1, they move 2. Miner drops off minerals. Miner brings minerals through the nebula. Actually, I can mine nebulas too now. I think that's part of the close encounter rules. I'll have to look into that. And so on turn 1, we continue with our research rolls. So let's see, 2, we gain 2 research points. So 4 becomes a 6. We're actually starting to get close on this guy. And then over here, we rolled a 6, which is no research gained. So then we go on to turn 2, and these research vessels can move up to 3 spaces. See, now we've got 4 research vessels, and each one of them can do a roll. So on turn 2, we've got a 1, a 5, an 8, and a 10. So a 1 is gain 2, a 5 is gain 1, so we gain 3. That brings us up to 4. And then an 8 is no gain, and then a 10 is vessel destroyed. So our 4 research vessels here is now down to 3. And then on turn 3, we do our research rolls again. So we roll a 10. This research vessel is destroyed. Actually, something I just remembered is that these research vessels are tech level 2. So they should actually get 2 rolls, and then you take the best of each. So that one research vessel might not have been destroyed. These research vessels were tech 2, so it's possible that I wouldn't have lost that one, but I don't want to go back and redo it and try to figure this all out. So I'm just gonna, from now on, these research vessels up here are tech 2, and they get 2 rolls, and I take the best. Probably wouldn't have lost that research vessel, but since I overlooked that rule, that's my bad, and I'm just going to eat the cost on that one. We're down here at the economic phase, and we've got 4 amoebas of type 1, and each one of them is allowed to grow. So we're going to be adding, if possible, we need to add 1 to each. So this one is going to grow downward to here. This one will grow outward to here. This one will grow upward to here, and then this one will grow. Technically, we're not supposed to pinch him off by putting one here, so this one technically needs to grow outward. Same situation. So this one's already pinched off, it can't grow anymore, but these 3 need to grow if possible. So this one's going to grow out this way. This one will grow down this way. And then this one will grow this way. Yeah, this one can grow this way. So I gotta say, it's both terrifying and also kind of exhilarating to watch these amoebas grow like they are. I'm definitely gonna get slaughtered in this game, but like I said, it's kind of fun to just know I'm gonna lose and just experience the tragedy that's about ready to unfold and just to embrace it. 15 minerals. We haven't lost any colonies yet, so we've got 70, 92. I'm almost kind of glad that my science vessel got destroyed because now I can build 4 more. I was kind of bottlenecked. I think actually I could have, what do they call it when you destroy your own ship? Scuttle. I could have scuttled the old, that's probably what I should have done. I could have scuttled the old science vessels so that I could deploy entire fleets of new ones. So we're going to build 4 more science vessels. That's 24. We're going to upgrade movement. We're going to upgrade defense. It's 30. 18 left over. Actually, I am going to scuttle this old science vessel. That way I can build 2 sets of 2 at the higher tech level and push them out. And on the first turn, they have a movement of 7, so they can move 3 per turn. So they're 1, 2, 3. He's back on here. 1, 2, 3. So on turn 1, he doesn't quite reach. So now on turn 1, you cannot do a research roll on this one because we don't have a science vessel on it. But on this one, we've got 3 science vessels, and they're each tech level 2. So we roll a 2 and a 1. The best of that is a 1. So we gain 2 points. So the 6 becomes an 8. Science vessel number 2, we roll a 1. That's as good as we can do. So we gain 2 more points. That 8 becomes a 10. And we basically just flip these over. There's a little R designating that we no longer need to research this amoeba type. We understand what makes it tick. So now that the amoeba is researched, any other vessel is capable of attacking it. And then over here we have 2 research vessels, Tech 2. So we roll a 9 and a 6. We take the best result of that. So 6, no research gained. And then vessel number 2, we roll a 4 and a 2. So we take the 2 because that's the better result, and we gain 2 research points. So this 7 actually becomes a 9. And that was just turn 1. So I think we're going to have all these researched. So one of these research vessels was just destroyed. And then the second research vessel rolls a 4 and a 9. So a 4 is gain 1 research point. So 6 becomes a 7. I think what we're going to do is move these research vessels 1, 2, 3 on turn 2. And I think on turn 3, these vessels are going to help finish that research. Yeah, a 4 is gain 1 research. So this 9 becomes a 10. And this entire amoeba has been researched. And then on turn 3, these science vessels, to try to finish up the research on this one, this miner's going out for more minerals. Second vessel, a 1, 8 becomes 10. Okay, so now this amoeba has been fully researched. All right, so now we just need to roll to figure out which type each amoeba is. So this amoeba is type 2. So we go over here, and he's got a D6, attack strength 6, defense 2, hull size 2. So we're going to just put this here to indicate that this amoeba is type 2. This amoeba has a weakness when encountering raiders, and then the third amoeba is type 10. You must detonate a ship inside the amoeba. Okay, well, we'll just remember what that amoeba type is. I really don't know how we're going to get this done at this point. So the amoebas spread before I can do my economic phase. So they basically wiped out 4 of my colonies, I think. And there's absolutely no way for me to survive at this point. Actually, I could upgrade shipyards. Let's upgrade shipyards, which means I can build up to 8 hull points, which means I can build 4 cruisers. So 4 times 12 is 48. 5 left over. Okay, so now I have 4 cruisers. So I was gonna try to detonate my research vessels inside the Amoeba, but apparently research vessels cannot be used to detonate inside the Amoeba. All right, so I've deployed my cruisers. Turn 1, 4 cruisers are going to engage. The cruisers each have an attack of 4, plus 2 is 6. And the Amoeba has a defense of 2 and a hull size of 2. So on a 4 or less, I get a hit off. So 3 hits, hull size 2. So this Amoeba is destroyed. And then here we've got an attack of 1. Yeah, that was kind of a suicide. Actually, these science vessels can choose not to be attacked, so I think they're just gonna not fight. Let's turn 1. So these scouts, man, the scouts are kind of useless. I guess this scout could have moved here for turn 1, and he can try to detonate himself. On a roll of 1 to 4, that scout detonates 9, so the scout does not detonate. Only one ship may try. It is destroyed. On a failed attempt, all ships in the same hex are destroyed. So the scout destroyed itself, trying to destroy that Amoeba. I guess this scout is going to move across and try to do the same. Now these cruisers are going to move here. So on turn 2, they destroy that Amoeba. If you can get military vessels out here, these Amoebas are not indestructible. But the problem is they're going to be spreading each turn, and now I've lost so many colonies that it's going to be hard to kind of get back to it. Anyway, turn 3, this scout is going to go here and try to detonate itself. 4, so this scout actually detonates the Amoeba, but I think he destroys himself in the process. These cruisers of 4 minesweepers are going to continue up here for turn 3, and so 4 or less, no hits, and then the minesweepers will hit on a 1 or less, and there's 4 of them. I have to roll 2 1s for this to go well. I rolled 1 1, so each time an Amoeba attacks, roll a die. On a roll, it will attack the smallest ship in combat. On a 6 through 10, it will attack the largest ship in combat. So it'll attack cruiser. My cruiser has a hull size of 2, so it gets a +1 to my defense strength. So this Amoeba has an attack of 6 minus my defense of 1 plus 2 is 3, plus 1 is 4. So actually this Amoeba is only going to attack on a 2 or less. So the Amoeba unsuccessfully swallowed a cruiser. So I've gone ahead and done the spreading of the Amoebas, and obviously this is going so poorly now. Oh, I forgot to spread those up there. Yeah, this type 3 amoeba should have been spreading out and filling up this area. It's going so poorly now that I'm almost just sort of rooting for the amoebas. And they've consumed all of my colonies except for 2. So I've got 30, 35, 40. I've got 40 colony points, no mining points. I mean, I can't even, all I can really buy at this point is, I guess, basically 3 cruisers. And that's 36. 9 points left. What I should have been buying was mines to prevent the spread, to try to prevent the spread of the amoebas. I mean, there's a lot of things I should have done differently, but of the many things I should have done differently, I should have invested heavily in mines, because mines are the only thing that can stop the spread of the amoebas. I mean, I know I'm doomed at this point, but I kind of just want to play it out because it's kind of fun. Like, I really just want to revel in the demise of my civilization. So I'm gonna move these cruisers. I'm gonna spread out. I'm gonna put one cruiser in each one of these, and then on a roll of 1 through 4. Oh wait, cruisers automatically destroy the amoeba. On turn 1 of this next economic phase, these 3 cruisers basically take out these 3 amoebas. And we roll a 3, a 6, and a 9. So I believe we only do 1 point of damage to that amoeba. And then we've got the minesweepers. On a roll of 1, we do another hull point of damage. So, and then that amoeba attacks us. He's going to attack the biggest ship, which is a cruiser. And on a 2, he successfully consumes, the amoeba consumes one of the cruisers. And then now there's a chance for a chain attack. Oh, but it's got to be 2 or more or less. So yeah, no chain attack. I think this battle group's going to come down here because this is closest to consuming a colony right now. And 4 or less. Double miss. We've got 4 research vessels. Miss. The amoeba goes for the biggest ship. Rolls a 1. That's a hit. So the amoeba consumes another one of my cruisers. So now I only have 1 cruiser left. And of course, like, this colony is now gone. So I think this is basically where we're at now. So yeah, I think I'm gonna call it. So that's it for my first playthrough of Space Amoeba, Space Empires, Close Encounters, Solitaire Scenario number 5. Now the Terrans were completely decimated by the Space Amoebas, but I actually had a lot of fun with this scenario. I've been playing so much of the Doomsday Machine scenario that I was really starting to get dialed in, like exactly what worked best. And I was working actually on the good luck mode of Doomsday. I'd already beaten like the harder mode. And then with Alien Empire, the second solitaire scenario, I was starting to get like, I played that several times and I was starting to get like a really good understanding of what I needed to do. But what I love about the Space Amoeba is I had like no idea how to go about the scenario, and it's very unlike the other scenarios. So it feels like a completely different world, and there's a lot of little tweaks and special rules for this scenario to really help drive the narrative. And I think it all works really well together. I'm actually kind of glad that it was super hard and that it destroyed me even on normal mode, because you know, it's going to take me a half a dozen playthroughs to even figure out like what I need to be doing. I mean, I already have a better sense of like, you know, what I did wrong and how I would improve upon that next turn. That's one thing I really love about the Space Empires solitaire scenarios, is that I've played 3 different scenarios now: Doomsday Machine, Alien Empire, and Space Amoeba. And I feel that all 3 of these scenarios are radically different. I mean, the setup is way different, the map is different, the strategies that you have to employ to be victorious are radically different between these 3 scenarios. So it's, you know, I think a lot of thought and attention was put into how to make a very compelling single player experience. I've seen several forum threads that ask the question, you know, is there enough meat with the solitaire scenarios to keep me engaged? And then also other people that own the base game but don't own the expansions, like, is Close Encounters worth buying? Like, do the solitaire scenarios and Close Encounters really add that much play value? And I think my answer to all these questions is yes, yes, yes. Like I think there is a enormous amount of value with all the solitaire scenarios in the base game and with the Close Encounters expansion. I haven't even gotten into the second expansion, Replicators, yet. I know there is a solo scenario in Replicators as well. You know, I've got a dozen playthroughs of the Doomsday Machine under my belt. I've got maybe half a dozen playthroughs of Alien Empire under my belt, and this was the very first time I tried to tackle Space Amoeba. I think there's a lot of strategy to explore with all these scenarios, so I'm excited to continue with this project and learn more about this game, learn more about these scenarios.